An interesting thing you can do within a Khan Academy classroom is really drive more peer-to-peer tutoring amongst the students. So if you had a number of students who had mastered specific concepts, and if there are another set of students that are still working or struggling with particular concepts, you might mash them together. So if this student has mastered it and this student needs help on it, pair them up. And during classroom time, you may try to facilitate more of this peer-to-peer tutoring among the class. And there are a number of reasons why you would want to do that. For one, as we all know, if you teach a topic, you really have to understand it at a very deep level. So this is a way of solidifying the understanding amongst the students that are teaching the topics. It's a way of developing broader skills beyond the content area that's being addressed. So these students would develop their communication skills, their presentation skills. They would show empathy towards other students. So a whole host of other skills that can be addressed. Additionally, it's a way of encouraging role modeling within the class. So the students would really start to look up to students who are not only have mastered the concepts but can help guide their teammates and that collaborative environment. So it can help if done properly start to drive some more collaboration and an incentive to role model within the classroom. So as a teacher, how would you go about facilitating and setting up these sessions? So one thing you can do is pull up the dashboard for your class. You can do this before class or the prior day, and this is what an example dashboard would look like. And what you can do is look at a topic where a number of students are working on it and some have mastered it and some have not, and identify the ones that have mastered the concept versus the ones that need help, and pair them up together. So what you would do is before the classroom time, determine which ones based on the personality of the students, based on how well you think they understand it or how much help they need, identify the pairs that you can create. And you could either do this on one specific topic area or on a number of different topic areas that the class is working on. But this is one way to pair the students up. Another thing that some of the students actually came up with in some of our classes is they just use the whiteboard. So an example of this, they started writing on the whiteboard what students are stuck on and what students can help others and coach them and what the topic is and the student, and they would just use this as a way to do the matching, the pairing on their own organically. I mean, students really came up with this on their own. They started to build such a culture of teamwork and collaboration within the classroom that they started logging it, and when one student saw that another student needed help, they would just jump in and start helping them. Or if a student really felt that they mastered a concept and wanted to tutor others, they would log in on the board and ask other students to come and ask them. So it was a fascinating way of the collaboration and the culture that can be built within the classroom. So when you're pairing up students, you can use either method. You can either look at the dashboard and think of the pairs that you want beforehand, or you can let it happen organically within the classroom with students communicating with each other. So as you have these peer-to-peer tutoring sessions within your classroom, it actually is important for the teacher to play a role here in making sure that the conversations are effective, as collaborative as possible. And what I would actually advise is observe some of these sessions, observe these sessions directly, and use it as a teachable moment with the students to help them through the process. So for example, one thing you could do is evaluate the students across a number of dimensions, and this is just 3 dimensions. I'm sure you can come up with a bunch of others. But when you observe the session, watch a peer-to-peer tutoring session, and then get feedback to the tutor. And let them know how clear was their communication style. What could they have done better on that? Did they really understand the subject matter truly before they tried explaining it, or did they still have gaps in their knowledge, and that's why their communication wasn't very clear? Did the student, when they were teaching it, really focus on the conceptual understanding of the subject matter? one thing you want to watch out for on peer-to-peer tutoring is to make sure students aren't just helping others answer the problems correctly on the system to help them get points or badges or streaks, but really when they're doing the peer-to-peer tutoring, they're empowering that other student to have a very true understanding of the concepts so that they can operate on their own. So how well did the student actually focus on this conceptual understanding? How flexible was the student? Did they go in and really understand the needs of the student being tutored, and did they address those, or did they try to explain things in a kind of a canned way beforehand? So, those are a number of things that you can think about. You might even within the class come up with a framework that you share with the class, and then you would audit these peer-to-peer tutoring sessions and give feedback, or maybe you would ask the students themselves to give feedback to each other after a session, or maybe ask another student to observe a session and give feedback to them. So there's a lot of interesting things you can do with this, and again, it's a way to encourage learning beyond the subject matter itself, but to focus on some of these other softer skills.